We're back with you live at the Daytona International Speedway, completing the 150th of 200 laps this time around on this 2.5-mile track. We're under caution. This is the 7th of the day. This has been brought out by a crash of Phil Barkdahl of Phoenix, Arizona, making his second appearance in the Daytona 500. He was here 1 year ago. It has been a wreck-strewn event. It has been slow, and thus far we have 11 cars that are out of the race from the 42 that started. 26 lead changes among 14 drivers as we prepare for this restart. Rick Mast in car number 66 from Rockbridge, Baths, Virginia, in his first Daytona 500, 31 years old, is leading the field. Dale Earnhardt, as they come up for green, will be in second. Ken Schrader third. Phil Parsons fourth. Jeff Bodine fifth. Kowicki sixth. Darrell Waltrip seventh. Terry Labonte eighth. Sterling Marlin ninth. Harry Gant in 10th. Joe Ruttman 11th. Kyle Petty 12th. Larry Pearson 13th. Kenny Bouchard 14th. Brett Bodine 15th. Morgan Shepherd in 16th. Rick Wilson in 17th. Richard Ben Hess is in 18th, the rookie. And Richard Petty is back in 19th position. And rounding out the top 20 is Ricky Rudd. They are under green.
Car number 66, Rick Mast, they made a very good pit stop, Ken, and that put him out front. So Travis Carter is proving that that team has all the ingredients that it needs to run up front.
Here's Schrader in third. Chevrolet's 1, 2, 3.
What a thrill for a rookie driver in his third Winston Cup race, leading the Daytona 500, the biggest race of all.
Last time Travis Carter, the crew chief on that car, engineered one that has come through was back in '84. They ran the 6th place. They've had some DNFs currently in the past several years. Here they are leading the 500.
Once again, you're seeing the Chevrolets begin to pull away a little bit. We mentioned at the top of the show that they were the cars to beat here today, and certainly they've proven that up to this point.
How about it, Chris? Rookie ever come through in this race?
No, I thought for a while that Mario Andretti's win in '67 was by a rookie, but I just checked and he drove here in '66. Except for the first race, Lee Petty won. A rookie has never won this race.
Rick Mast trying to change that in the 31st running of the Great American Race. Earnhardt trying to win it for the first time. Schrader pulls right in there. The fastest man throughout Speed Weeks in the number 25, the maroon car in third. Mast, the unknown, unless you hang around Virginia where they know him well. They knew his father-in-law well. He was the king of the dirt up there for a lot of years. A.G. Dillard won a lot of races. That was his father-in-law. His own dad owned a racetrack. That's a real racing family from Virginia, currently leading the Daytona 500.
Remember what he said on the Busch Clash? I asked him if he was ready for it, and he said he drove 4 cars off the road on the way to the track that morning.
He was ready.
Really ready.
194-mile-an-hour average, and Mast is forcing them, I think, into a pace they might not want to run right now. Kowicki going to the inside on Michael Waltrip and brings with him Darrell Waltrip. Michael on the outside in the yellow car. Here's Darrell down to the bottom side, pulling up a spot. Richard Petty back there in the tail end of that top 20. Here comes Rusty Wallace with him. It's quite a picture. Thank you, Rusty.
Both Richard Petty and Michael Waltrip are a lap down. They made unscheduled green flag pit stops when they got together a little while ago.
Richard Petty, Ricky Rudd, Dave Marcus, 19, 20, 21, and Michael Waltrip, 22. Michael Waltrip's now being shown 2 laps down.
Okay, he came back in again, apparently.
17 cars remain in the lead lap, and the interesting thing to me is that if the yellow flag does not come out again, the fuel mileage situation, these drivers are going to have to stop within the last 5 laps for topping off, unless you're a gambler or getting mileage the way Ken Schrader's car has been getting mileage. But I don't think Ken Schrader can go 53 laps.
Rusty Wallace still trying to make up laps. Was 4 down. He's collected 2. There's that crack on a windshield in the Wallace car. Not overly concerned with all those braces there. In the old days, it could land in your lap.
You can see that radio arrow on the back of Richard Petty's car. He has a pretty strong signal between he and the pits, and I guess after driving one of these things for 30-some years that you maybe get a little bit deafer than you would have been otherwise, and he has to have a strong signal. As a result, he has a little bit higher radio arrow than others.
That's scoring tower at work.
Richard Petty has a serious hearing problem, as do many people in this business, myself included. Richard Petty has given half his hearing, half his life, half his family, and half his stomach to the sport of stock car racing.
Incidentally, Chris, we've had a report. Tony Deese was taken to the infield hospital. Earnhardt taking the lead. Schrader coming with him. Tommy Deese, who was injured on pit road, maybe a leg injury, being taken. They put splints on him and took him to the infield care center here at Daytona.
And look at Kenny Schrader just drive by Dale Earnhardt. Boy, does he have some horsepower under the hood of that Chevrolet.
Fold up the briefcase and sign a new contract, Mr. Hendrick. This guy looks like he's gone the way he passed them that time.
He's led 72 laps of today's race, more than any other single driver, and the last 5 500s have been won by the driver who has led the most laps.
So things are looking in his favor then.
I would think so. If you remember in our show last night, who picked him?
Well, that fellow by the name of the Economac, I believe, picked him. Now, I had been going with Darrell Waltrip all week. I felt that Darrell was going to win this race. And when we did our little round thing, the fans that saw us yesterday afternoon after the 125-mile qualifying races, I switched to Earnhardt because he had looked so strong here in the last several days, and, well, not sitting too bad right now.
Here's Dave Despain.
We're in the pits of now third-place driver Rick Mast, and yes, if a rookie wins this race, it'll be spectacular. But for this veteran crew chief, Travis Carter, it would also be sweet satisfaction. A year ago, this was Harry Gant's team, and the Hollywood stuntman Hal Needham was the owner. Needham put it up for sale. Gant left and took the sponsor. Travis tried to buy it, but couldn't come up with the money. And then Bill Edwards, the Charlotte businessman, construction contractor, came into the picture and said, let's keep this team intact. Travis is still the crew chief. Mast is now the driver. They're third in the 500. Can you guys win this thing?
Well, you never know. Anybody can win. We're certainly pleased with what we've been able to do so far, and we're real proud of Rick's driving ability. He doesn't seem to be intimidated, and he's certainly not afraid to hold that gas down. Overall, we're extremely pleased.
There's a man who's happy to have his race team in one piece and third place in the Daytona 500.
Here are your leaders. It is Ken Schrader first, Earnhardt in second, and Mast, driving like he's been here for 10 years in his very first 500, hangs on to third. Chevrolets 1, 2, 3. Further back in the field lies Joe Ruttman. Remember a few years ago he had a great third place finish. He's now in 15th spot and staying on the lead lap. Ruttman first drove a NASCAR back in 1963 out of Riverside, California. He was just 19. And finished 10th that day, but that third place finish in '82 is the one most remembered. That was right here at the Daytona Speedway, tucked right in behind Michael Waltrip, who's 2 laps down. Ruttman running in the lead lap and currently 15th.
His brother Troy won the Indianapolis 500 in 1952. Right now, there's less than 100 miles to go.
Here come the front 3, lapping J.D. McDuffie. J.D., who didn't make this race last year, back out here and still very much in it. With all this attrition, it'll be a great payday. To Dave Despain.
Joe Ruttman's a fascinating story in this race, primarily because he's in this race. 15 minutes before the qualifier on Thursday, the engine was out of that car, and Joe was throwing up his hands. They slapped the motor back in. He rolled out on pit road just as they fired the car up and thought one last thing, turned to his crew chief and said, I don't know where the pit is. And they said, we'll stick the board out on the pace lap. Look for us. And remember, we don't have any tires mounted. He went out, got caught in that big wreck, tore the car all up, still finished 9th, and made it into the Daytona 500.
Great story on Joe Ruttman, Dave. That's some kind of race driver, too. I keep waiting for him to have that great day like he had back here in the early 80s. It hasn't come his way.
Alan Kulwicki, back in sixth place, is the only Ford product in the top 10. Those Ford lovers are rooting for Alan to move up here in this 500-mile competition.